Hello students. So today we are going to start with a new lesson, that is photosynthesis in higher plants. So dear children, we know very well what is photosynthesis. So photos is light and synthesis is putting together, okay? And is it photosynthesis, okay, is an enzyme regulated anabolic process, okay, and in this manufacture of organic compounds inside the chlorophyll containing cell from the carbon dioxide and water with the help of sunlight as a source of energy takes place. A simple equation for photosynthesis can be given as 6 CO2 plus 6 H2O, okay, in presence of chlorophyll 2, enzyme and radiant energy, that is the wavelength is around 686 kilocalorie, and it produces C6H12O6, that is glucose, plus water, oxygen, okay, 6 molecule of oxygen plus some water vapor is also released, okay. So in this way plant they prepare their food, okay, and this process of preparing food by the plants with the help of carbon dioxide, water, in presence of the sunlight and chlorophyll is called the photosynthesis, okay. Now the function of water is to provide hydrogen for the synthesis of organic compounds. All the liberated oxygen comes from the water and not from carbon dioxide. So the reaction can be modified as 6 CO2 plus 12 H2O in presence of chlorophyll, enzymes and radiant energy gives the glucose, okay, plus water vapor, and it also gives the oxygen, okay. So phototrophic bacteria employ hydrogen donor other than water. Therefore photosynthesis is also defined as an enzyme mediated anabolic process of manufacture of organic compound inside the chlorophyll containing cells from the carbon dioxide and hydrogen donor with the help of radiant energy. Now what is the importance, okay, photosynthesis as a means of autotrophic nutrition, okay. Basically all the living organisms, okay, they depend on the plants, okay, and plants are the only organisms which can produce their own food. Only photosynthesis is a means by which certain organisms can manufacture their own organic food from inorganic raw material with the help of solar energy. The organisms performing photosynthesis therefore are called the autotrophs, and also photoautotrophs. They include green plants, red algae, brown algae, yellow, green algae, several types of protists, cyanobacteria and some bacteria. Other organisms cannot manufacture their own food and they are known as heterotrophs, okay. They depend on autotrophs for obtaining food. Now photosynthesis is important, okay, and it is most important natural process which sustain life on earth, okay. Due to this process all the other living organisms are surviving. The process of photosynthesis is unique to photoautotrophs, okay, which are mainly autotrophic plants. It synthesize organic compound or food from the inorganic raw material. Now all the animals and heterotrophic plants depend upon the phototrophs for their organic uh, food, that is all flesh, okay, is green. Because of it the phototrophs are called producers while all other organisms they are called consumers, okay. Photosynthesis convert radiant or solar energy into chemical energy. The same gets stored as in the organic food as bonds between the different atoms. Photosynthesis products provide energy to all the organisms to carry out their life activities. Now, coal, petroleum, natural gas are fossil fuels which have been produced by the application of heat and compression on the past plants and animal parts. Okay, and these are formed from the plants. They are important source of energy to run many of our machines. All useful plant products are derived from the process of photosynthesis, like timber, rubber, resin, drugs, oil, fibers. Okay, now it is the only known method by which oxygen is needed to the atmosphere to compensate for the oxygen being used in the respiration of the organism and burning of organic fuels. Oxygen is important in efficient utilization and complete breakdown of respiratory substrate. Okay, and formation of ozone in stratosphere that filter out the and stop harmful ultraviolet radiations that reach the earth. Okay, photosynthesis decreases the concentration of carbon dioxide which is being added to the atmosphere by the respiration of the organism and burning of organic fuels. Higher concentration of carbon dioxide are poisonous to the living beings. Now, next we have is the productivity of the agriculture. Okay, now productivity of the agriculture, that we know very well that it depends on the rate of photosynthesis. Therefore, scientists are busy in genetically manipulating the process. Now, what is the magnitude of the photosynthesis? The total carbon dioxide available to the plant for photosynthesis is about 11.2 into 10 to the power 14 ton. Okay, and out of this only 2.2 into 10 to the power 13, that is 2200 billion tons are present in the atmosphere at the rate of 0.03%. The amount is sufficient to supply photosynthesis for a few hundred years even if there is no replenishment. Okay, ocean contain 11 into 10 to the power 14, or we can say 1 lakh 10,000 billion ton of the carbon dioxide. There is still a large quantity of carbon dioxide, that is 2.8 into 10 to the power 18 ton, present in the lithosphere. Of course, it is not employed in the photosynthesis. About 70 to 80 billion ton of carbon dioxide are fixed annually by the terrestrial aquatic autotrophs. That means 70 to 80 billion ton of the carbon dioxide is fixed every year. It produces about 170 billion ton of dry organic matter. Okay, according to the older estimate, out of this only 10%, that is 17 billion ton of the dry matter is produced by the land plants, while 90% of it is formed in the ocean. The present estimate put the productivity of land plant to be 68% of the total. And okay, the annual fixation of 70 billion ton of the carbon require about 1.05 into 10 to the power 18 kilocalorie of the energy. That means for fixation of the carbon dioxide, that is 70 billion ton of carbon, we need some energy, and the energy required is 1.0.5 into 10 to the power 18 kilocalorie. So much of radiant energy is therefore being converted into chemical energy annually. The total solar energy falling on earth is 5 into 10 to the power 20 kilocalorie per year. The plant are thus able to utilize only 0.2% of the solar energy received by the surface of the earth. Okay, now let's see the history or the early experiments. Okay, so in 1727 Stephen Hales, okay, he recognized the importance of sunlight, air and green leaves for nourishment of the plants. Now next in 1770 Joseph Priestley, okay, and that is 1733 to 1804, Priestley found that burning candle would soon get extinguished in closed space or bell jar. Similarly, a mouse kept in the closed space would soon get suffocated and die. However, if a mint plant accompanied them in the bell jar, neither the candle would be extinguished nor the mouse died. The plant also grew. Priestley therefore hypothesized that foul air or the phlogiston produced during burning of the candle or air or animal, that is the mice respiration, could be converted into pure air or the dephlogiston by the plant, that is the mint. In 1774 Priestley discovered oxygen. So in your NCERT book you have seen that if only mouse is kept then it will die. If candle is kept and mouse both are kept then also both will die. Okay, but if the candle is provided with one plant, okay, and there is one mouse or any animal is kept under the bell jar, then both will survive. Okay, that means the candle will not extinguish and the rat will also not die. Okay, now Jan Egenhaus, that is in 1730 to 1799, in his experiment with an aquatic plant, he showed that in bright sunlight small bubbles were formed around the green part, while in the bright sunlight small bubbles were formed around the green part, while in the dark such bubbles did not form. He found these bubbles to be oxygen. Okay, he thus confirmed that purification of air or formation of the dephlogiston is carried out by green plants only in presence of sunlight. Okay, now next experiment or theory was by the Lavoisier. Okay, so according to Lavoisier, the phlogiston is carbon dioxide and dephlogiston is the oxygen. And defessor, okay, sorry, okay, the water is essential requirement in photosynthesis. In photosynthesis, plant pick up carbon dioxide and release oxygen. Okay, so according to D. Saussure, okay, or Saussure, water is essential requirement, okay, for the photosynthesis, and plants they picked up carbon dioxide and they released oxygen. Okay, now next experiment was by the Pelletier and Cavento. Okay, and they discovered and named chlorophyll. Okay, so chlorophyll was discovered and named by the Pelletier and Cavento. Okay, now next we have is the von Meyer. Green plants convert solar energy into chemical energy during the process of photosynthesis. Okay, so von Meyer told that the green plants they use solar energy, okay, and convert it into the chemical energy during the process of photosynthesis. Now Sach, okay, according to Sach, green plants green part in the plant produce glucose which is stored as starch. Starch is the first visible product of the photosynthesis. Next was Engelmann, okay, in 1843 to 1909. He split light into its component by the prism and then illuminated the cladophora, okay, a green algae placed in a suspension of the aerobic bacteria. He found that bacteria accumulated in the region of blue and red light, okay, uh, of the split spectrum. He thus discovered the effect of different wavelength of the light on the photosynthesis and plotted the first action spectrum of the photosynthesis. And next was Blackman, okay, and according to him the principle of limiting factor was propounded, okay. He gave the principle of limiting factor or the law of limiting factor. He also proposed the occurrence of dark phase in the photosynthesis, okay. Now next scientist was the Warburg, okay. He first employed chlorella, a unicellular non-motile green algae, for study of photosynthesis. He studied the effect of high oxygen concentration, poison like cyanide and light flash on the photosynthesis. Now last one is not last, Van Neal, okay. Van Neal in 1897 to 1985, on his studies with the purple and green sulfur bacteria, demonstrated that photosynthesis is a light dependent reaction in which hydrogen from all oxidizable compounds reduces carbon dioxide to form sugar, okay. So the equation was, so the equation was 2H2A plus carbon dioxide in presence of light gives 2A plus CH2O plus H2O. In green sulfur bacteria, when H2S instead of H2O was used as hydrogen donor or no oxygen was evolved, he inferred that oxygen evolved by green plant comes from the water but not from the carbon dioxide as thought earlier. So if you are asked who proved that the source of oxygen released by the plant is water not carbon dioxide, so that was proved by the Van Neal, okay. Now Emerson and Arnold, okay. Now next we have is the Emerson and Arnold. They performed flashing light experiment at different temperature and found out existence of light and dark phase of the photosynthesis. Next was Hill, okay. Evolution of oxygen occur in the light reaction performed by the isolated illuminated chloroplast in presence of suitable electron acceptors and absence of carbon dioxide, okay. Next is the Rubin and Kamen. Rubin, Hussein and Kamen. Oxygen evolved during the photosynthesis comes from water and not from the carbon dioxide. For this they used water with heavy isotope of the oxygen, okay. Now next is Arnon, that is ETL, discovered the photophosphorylation, also showed fixation of carbon dioxide by the previously illuminated isolated chloroplast by using radioactive carbon, that is C14, in their carbon dioxide. Now Kelvin traced the pathway of the carbon fixation by using the heavy carbon dioxide or radioactive carbon dioxide and gave the C3 cycle, okay. Kelvin gave C3 cycle, now known after the Kelvin cycle. Kelvin was awarded Nobel Prize, okay, in 1960 for his work. Now next we have is Emerson. He found red drop and photosynthesis, photosynthetic enhancement or the Emerson effect, okay. Now Hill and Bendel, okay. Hill and Bendel. So Hill and Bandel, they propose Z scheme of two photosystem. Okay, photosystem A and photosystem 1 and photosystem 2 are there. So in that they discovered the Z scheme. Okay, Peter Mitchell, okay, and they propose chemiosmotic theory of ATP synthesis. Okay, Hatch and Slack discovered the supplementary mechanism of carbon dioxide fixation called the carbon dioxide pathway in certain tropical plant, that is gases, okay, grasses and the non-grasses. And the last one is the Huber, okay, and crystallized and analyzed the photocenter of the rhodobacteria through X-ray diffraction technology. They were awarded the Nobel Prize in 1988.